Hello, everybody. I'm Skip Alzheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks lunchtime streaming show where we watch old 16mm films, and that was Assembly of Small Parts, a silent film that was basically this. I have a feeling that this specifically was shown to mechanical engineers or industrial engineers who were learning about how to make these tedious, repetitive tasks more efficient, like squeezing as much out of an hourly wage as you possibly can. Yeah, not unlike what Amazon is trying to do with their drivers and their warehouse staff. Is well, here's the quota. This is how much you should be able to do. We've made this more efficient, etc. This actually came up. I think there were some grocery stores, Food Lion, which is a regional grocery store that started in North Carolina. They got in trouble because managers were telling employees, all right, we need you to mop the floor after hours, and this is how much time it's supposed to take. And so if it takes you longer than 2 hours, you have to clock out. So stuff like that, just shenanigans. Yeah. So last night, we have moved the scanner. We're not obviously at an archive that has a bunch of 16mm films, because that archive does not have a bunch of 16mm films. And so they're at storage units at other places. And we've been working out of my basement, and we moved the scanner to the house. And so I've been scanning stuff again. Unfortunately, it's not a way that I can do it live because of the nature of the scanner. It doesn't have a live video out or an audio out. So I'm going to try to scan as much as I can. And then maybe tomorrow I'll show you the process of how we do it. I don't know. We'll see. Give you a sense of how it's set up and how it's on a dining room table. This $65,000 scanner. Anyways, here's some great films that we scanned just because I like the titles. I went to the storage unit and was like, oh, I haven't seen this. Oh, I haven't seen this. So here's Safety Belts, a smashing success. Safety Belts, a smashing success. Enjoy.
These drivers are among the best in the world. There is no magic to their performance. They are talented and they are skilled. With high-speed competition, there is the risk of accident. But race drivers look to no magic to take that risk away. It is a risk they have accepted. When they leave super performance cars for their lower performance, soft-sprung family sedans, do they leave the risk of accident behind them?
Cars have come a long way in terms of their development in regard to performance, reliability, and safety. In racing, we have excellent restraint systems for the driver in the case of a collision to keep him securely in his seat. They are a shoulder harness, seat belt, and lap belt.
Race drivers feel they often face more danger on ordinary streets and freeways than they do on the racetrack. Away from the track, there are fewer skilled drivers. Some cars in poor condition. Away from the track, the risk of accident is still high. Growth brings more and better highways. But these are an answer to the needs of more millions of automobiles, more millions of drivers. Greater traffic alone increases the risk of accident. Among those millions of persons behind the wheel are careless drivers, foolish drivers, drunk drivers. It is not necessary to drive too many miles to recognize that anyone who takes the wheel, good driver included, is exposed to a high risk of accident. Statistically, only a few drivers will drive a lifetime without involvement in a serious accident. What happens in an automobile accident is something most people don't want to face. Forces are involved that are far greater than the human body can endure. Most grave or lethal damage to the body does not occur at the moment of impact. After impact, unrestrained occupants continue in motion to meet death or serious injury in a second collision, when they strike a surface of the interior of the car. Frequently, fatal injuries are received by persons ejected from the automobile. They may be crushed by the automobile, killed by impact with the ground or some stationary object, or struck by a following vehicle. A person who is restrained in place has a dramatically better chance for survival. Highway injuries and deaths could be cut in half if motorists would use their seat belts. Only 1 American in 3 consistently uses a safety belt. 1 in 3 recognizes the risk of accident, accepts it, and prepares to survive it. What about the others?
All right. Come on. Ivan, you sit down. Sit.
Turn around.
Sit. All right, girls, you sit down now. Oh. We do this every morning on the way to school for carpool. And to have to do seatbelts up, too, is impossible.
I've been driving 15 years. I've never had an accident or a moving violation. Besides, it messes up the clothes.
I can't be bothered with seatbelts.
Not very convincing. Highway deaths are approaching 60,000 annually. More than half occur at speeds of less than 40. Fatal auto accidents have occurred at speeds as low as 12 miles an hour. In 3 fatal crashes of every 4, the victim is within 25 miles of his home when he meets death. This statistic alone should lay to rest the myth that seatbelt protection is only important on freeways or highways. If a majority of drivers and passengers will not take a simple step to reduce the risk of injury and death, then is there a better explanation than that offered by the drivers themselves?
Oh, I'm only going a few miles.
Even a quick look around a place like this makes you aware that there is risk in driving an automobile. When people get into their cars, some of them recognize a risk and some of them don't.
I wear them only on long trips around town. I hardly do 35.
Many find good reason to think that people who seem unconcerned People who seem oblivious to any risk associated with driving may be more aware of it than is readily apparent.
Not me, I don't need them. I never had an accident.
Ignoring the safety belt and the risk, rather than an act of forgetfulness and unconcern, can be a purposeful act. It can be a kind of ritual that somehow magically removes the danger.
I really don't mind wearing them, I just don't think about it.
In effect, people say to themselves, there's no danger. But of course, if an accident does occur, this is hardly effective protection.
Safety belt? No, not me. What if I go off the road into the water? Or the car catches fire? I'd be dead.
The forces the body is subjected to in an auto crash were measured with anthropometric dummies a number of years ago, before there was significant use of seat belts by the driving public. These scenes from the original definitive studies of the UCLA Institute of Transportation and Traffic Engineering clearly show what happens in a typical collision. Upon impact, the automobile, if unrestrained occupants of the car, however, continue in motion. Massive injury occurs when the individual strikes the interior of the car or is ejected from it. Unrestrained children are even more vulnerable to injury than adults. Automobile accidents, for example, are the leading cause of death for children under 12. A child will literally fly around the interior to impact violently against interior surfaces or other passengers. The real-time duration of these scenes is from 1 to 3 seconds. But even with slow-motion photography, it is difficult to comprehend the enormous forces involved. At 30 miles per hour, a collision with a stationary object is equivalent to making a dive off a 30-foot Olympic high diving board onto your driveway. At 55 miles per hour, it is equal to a fall off a 100-foot bridge. The need for driver and passenger restraints is clear. Both child and adult passengers restrained by seat belts and shoulder harnesses. To secure infants and children under 4, it is necessary to purchase and install an approved restraining device. Safety belts have been made an integral part of late model cars. Automotive engineers have helped make it possible for every driver and passenger who may be in an accident to reduce by over 50% his risk of serious injury or death. Driving involves risk. There is some danger, but with no appreciable inconvenience, it is possible to enjoy protection that is far more effective than the magic of saying there is no danger. But a person who knows driving and automobiles recognizes the risk, accepts it, and prepares to survive the accident if it does occur.
Sure, they wrinkle my clothes, but it's better than getting my face scarred.
Buckling up is part of my starting routine.
I may only be going a short distance, but an accident can happen anywhere.
You never had an accident. Doesn't mean you never will. Common sense tells you that.
Well, a belt keeps me in my seat and out of the hospital.
Your automobile may not have the power and the speed of cars like these. But every car has power and speed enough to kill. Every driver runs a high risk of accident.
Hi, I'm Mark Donahue. The modern car has come a long way in performance, reliability, comfort, and most of all, safety. The modern racing car also had safety. We have seatbelts like these, and double shoulder harnesses, and also leg straps. We wouldn't consider leaving the pits without them. Many say it's safer on the racetrack than on the highway. Seatbelts are easy to use. There's no excuse. Use them and be safe in your car.
Okay, Mike, thanks a lot for your help. Anytime.
Seat belts and harnesses are available for a very good reason, but they work only if you wear them. Make it a habit. It's a good one.
You know, seat belts are really easy to use. Take a tip from a race car driver. Buckle up and be safe in your car.
Safety belts work. Magic doesn't. Buckle up. Safety is no accident.
So I have a copy of Red Light Return, which is mentioned there. And Charles Cahill Productions, who made this film, made a lot of films about safety belts, and including Safety Belts for Susie, Red Light Return, lots and lots. They love using that UCLA footage of the cars like careening into each other and the dummies kind of flipping around and all that stuff. So that is footage that I have seen before and I have shown before. So yeah, just like Sid Davis loves to show films or make films about dangerous strangers, Cahill likes to show films and make films about seat belts and safety belts. All right. Here is this is a fascinating film. The title, again, drew me. I was like, oh, Shapes We Live With? Huh? All right, let's see what this is. Enjoy.
Everything we see or touch has a shape. Things have shapes that are round, like a balloon, or square, like the box that the Jack-in-the-Box hides in. Or they may be pointed, like this doll's body. Many of these shapes have names. You know what this is. It is a ball. Do you know the name of the ball's shape? Its shape is called a sphere. A sphere is a shape that is round no matter which way you turn it. You can roll a sphere in any direction.
Are these objects spheres? Yes, they are round everywhere. In our games, we often use spheres. Some of the spheres we play with are soft and bouncy, while others are quite hard. You often see and use objects that are spheres. Some of the beads your sister or your mother wear may be spheres. Have you seen many shapes like these? Do you know any of their names? Look at this object. How is it like a sphere? The ends are round, and it can roll if we turn it over. How is it different from a sphere? It has straight sides, and it has two flat ends. This object's shape also has a name. It is called a cylinder. Do these objects look like cylinders? Their ends are round. The objects have straight sides. They have two flat ends. The objects are all cylinders, even though they are different sizes. What is this object? Can you name the drum's shape? The drum's shape is a cylinder. Some cylinders may be long, like these straws. Or they may be short, like the penny. We see many objects that are cylinders. What is this object? Look at the part that holds the ice cream. Its shape is called a cone. Which of these objects is a cone? How is the cone like the cylinder? The end is flat and round. The sides are straight. How is the cone different from the cylinder? The cone has only one flat end. The other end is pointed because this is where the straight sides meet. Are these objects cones? Are they round? Do they have straight sides? Do they have one end that is flat and round? Do the straight sides meet at a point? Yes. The objects are all cones, even though they are different sizes. Many things that we see and use have shapes like cones. Even some vegetables have cone shapes. How is this object like the cone and the cylinder? It has straight sides, and its sides are flat. How is its shape different from the cone and the cylinder? It is not round anywhere. We cannot roll it. How can we describe the sides of the object? Let's trace around one of its sides and see what it is like. The side is a square. The square's edges are all the same length. Its corners are all the same shape. When an object has 6 sides, and the sides are all squares, we call the object a cube. Are any of these objects cubes? They are not round anywhere. Their sides are all flat, and they are also squares. The objects are all cubes. We often play with things that are cubes. Many of the objects we use around our homes are cubes. There are many kinds of objects around us. All of them have shapes, Some of the objects are round everywhere. We call these objects spheres. Some objects are shaped like a cylinder. The edges are round. They have straight sides. And they have two flat ends. Other objects are also round. They have straight sides, but one end is flat, while the other end is pointed where the straight sides meet. We call these objects cones. Still, other objects are not round anywhere. Their sides are all the same shape and the same size and are squares. Objects like these are called cubes. Of the many objects you see and use, how many can you think of that are spheres, cylinders, cones, or cubes?
So that was oddly meditative. I'm not sure why it was so slowly paced. That pacing was comparable to pacing that we run across when we see films that are meant for kids or adults who are hearing impaired, where you see people talking and you can read their lips, or there's captions. But this was that was weird. I'm glad some of you liked how chill it was, but others were probably like, come on, let's get to the other film. Let's speed this thing up. I almost feel like taking it and then making it even slower and then like slowing it down and then pitch shifting so it's... Anyways, okay. This next film. So those last two films were films from our archive that I scanned last night. And I'm hoping to do more of that and share more of that new stuff. Some of the stuff that we've been sharing on the YouTube channel has been stuff that we digitized, like, I don't know, 15 years ago, that never just made it up, which is why you're seeing things like the 1970s Telezonia, or you're seeing Supergoop, or you're seeing these other kind of classic films that I love showing and have that just haven't put on YouTube. And part of that is because of the copyright status of some of the materials and how YouTube is handling copyright materials now. It seems to be a little bit more, I don't want to say lax, but they're handling things differently than when I had my first 3 YouTube channels that got canceled. So I'm experimenting. We're seeing like I'm giving visibility to this collection. Anyways, as part of that, I am still actively trying to scan more stuff from our collection, even though we're not in the archive proper where we used to be able to do that. I'm trying to reach out and get more materials, just because I feel like that's what gives me joy. I enjoy showing films and scanning films. I don't know the titles. I don't know anything about them, and it's like this little like treasure hunt, or not even that. It's like, what is this box? What's in here? I don't know. But anyways, this next film is from the Perlinger archive, and we're doing the same thing with that, where we digitized, like, over, I would say 20 years ago, we were digitizing a bunch of stuff for the Perlinger archive, which we uploaded to the Internet Archive. And I was like, well, we need to give visibility on YouTube, and especially make better quality things than what are currently on YouTube. So that's what we're working on right now. So this film is a Jam Handy film, which we love. This is called Give Yourself a Green Light. Enjoy.
the American dream of freedom on wheels. An automotive age, traveling on time-saving superhighways. Futurama's free-flowing channels of concrete and steel. But these wide lanes of reality actually measure out to just a few miles, scattered far apart across the friendly face of our land. We have become the nation on wheels, with more motorized mobility than ever dreamed of before. Though we have the greatest highway system in all the world, it can't carry the mounting traffic of our growing greatness. We're running out of roads. We didn't dream big enough.
Here's the problem, all mapped out. 3,300,000 miles of it. Unimproved. Improved. Paved. Superhighway.
Country roads, small city streets, big city thoroughfares, state highways networking the nation.
And here's the crisis. 2/3 of the way is now obsolete, worn out, inadequate in width, inferior in condition, capacity, and safety. These were good roads 30 years ago when they were laid out. But nothing lasts forever.
The waiting line forms on the right. And at the head of the waiting line is your local highway engineer. Listen to what he thinks about our roads.
All over the county, our farm-to-market roads are dying of old age. Not anybody's fault, just a matter of time, and not enough money to keep them up or make them modern. Most were built in the 20s. Along came the neglect of the war years, beat them up and broke them down, and we've been using them more and more ever since. What we need is to invest more money in good new roads, instead of spending so much patching up worn-out ones.
What do the people think who must use these roads? Ask the farmer.
Sinkholes and washboard, rotted to ruination. And come every spring, the bottoms drop out.
And the milk truck driver.
We pay for roads, whether we have them or not. Only we pay more for them when we don't have them.
Don't have to have hardtop. Gravel's fine when it's treated to keep down the dust. But all the gravel in the county can't keep a road from caving in if a stretch has not been crowned and graded proper for all weather wear.
Soured milk, wear and tear on equipment, wasted time. Soaks everybody from the farmers right up to the family budget.
We're growing more crops, growing more people, growing more cars and trucks. Trouble is, we've just not been growing enough more good roads.
And your accident rate rises too, if you don't watch out.
Ask the school bus driver.
Yep, you have to be careful driving the kids over these roads. Sharp curves, soft shoulders, narrow bridges, railroad crossings. Spring rains wash out these roads, and winter frosts rip them up, so you can count on no school those days.
Other times, you don't know what to expect. Ask the small-town merchant.
Our town has a population of 4,002, except on weekends. On Friday night and Saturday, congestion hits our main arteries like a heart attack. But customers pass us by if they can't find a place to stop. What rings up store sales today is parking space. It's as important to volume as shelf space and display windows. Best investment a town can make. Lots of parking.
In small town and suburb, in cities of all sizes, the situation is the same, all snarled up. The best investment has yet to be made. Ask Mrs. America.
Every day it gets worse shopping. It's not just a matter of getting through the congestion. It's impossible to find a place to park. Do.
Morning and night, around the clock, the sound of our times keeps blasting for a way out of the bottleneck.
3/4 of everything for American families travels at some time on the backs of our 10 million trucks. And what are you planning for dinner, Mother? Here it is. Expensively bottlenecked.
Hey, pal, what's the dough?
Just keep rooting around. Load and unload, buddy. That's what to do, like a bunch of sheep.
With 54 million vehicles on our streets and roads today, 50% more than before the war, by 1975, they say we will be driving 85 million. 5 o'clock, USA.
Ah, for the life of a traveling salesman. Late for every appointment. This is the ulcer route.
Will you stop honking, Mac? We ain't going nowhere.
This is Agony Alley. Morning rush and evening wait. Fight your way home from work. You think you got it made. Good job, car nearly paid for. So you get a little home in the suburbs, away from the city smoke, out from the shadows of the factory, into the sun and clean air. Raise a few kids, some flowers and vegetables. The big dream coming true. But it backfires into a pipe dream. Exhaust pipe dream. Every night it takes longer to get home, wasting more time in gasoline. No wonder everybody's acting so nervous. What's a citizen gonna do?
What can a citizen do?
To help find out, a Better Highways contest was recently conducted. Purpose? Arouse nationwide thinking on how to plan and pay for the safe and adequate highways we need. Highway experts wrote essays, along with tens of thousands of others who already recognize the highway dilemma as one of our nation's most critical problems.
I am privileged to present the winner of the Grand National Award, Robert Moses of New York.
Robert Moses, New York City construction coordinator, is a world-famous highway planner, a man who knows his business.
No stroke of genius, no brilliant device, no magic will suddenly produce roads commensurate with cars. We have fallen far behind. The remedies are neither easy, nor cheap, nor immediately realizable. But the task you have set is not beyond the capacity of the aroused American people, and you may be sure that they will not stop short of the goal.
Mr. Moses went on to propose a 10-year construction program to cost $5 billion a year. He stressed there was no one new solution for the entire nation, but rather a combination of many solutions. And there is a solution for each community within its own capacity to accomplish.
A good parking space is any space, close enough. A good road is any road able to carry its daily traffic flow safely and adequately. And it doesn't have to cost $1 million a mile to be a good investment. Every stretch of farm and factory to market road earns profits for all the nation. And it's just good American enterprise to put part of the profits back in the business. Our road builders now have the know-how to pour miracles of concrete through the air if supported by the proper financing. They can lift traffic up over city congestion with elevated highways raised by an aroused public.
The Gowanus Expressway speeds over a densely populated area of Brooklyn without disturbing life below, to deliver through traffic to the underwater tunnel to Manhattan. Connecting from the north, a 4-story street will soon be open, with promenade for pedestrians on top, local traffic on the bottom, and 2 one-way expressways in between.
Here is 4-story proof that our modern highway planners, with imagination and public support, can solve our traffic problems. We can have our superhighways in the sky, fabulous, futuristic forms, like this Hollywood freeway interchange, which sorts flowing traffic 8 ways at once. If we start now to give our engineers the go sign, to design dreams instead of detours. This spectacular 2-decked viaduct, snaking along the docks of Puget Sound through Seattle's busiest section, has cut a 20-minute traffic battle to 3 minutes travel time.
And more miles are on the way. The people of the state of Washington are using all of an increased gasoline tax and auto license fund for the faster development of a better roads program.
Many people favor toll roads like the New Jersey Turnpike, financed by a bond issue, another way to raise funds. It's already paying itself off way ahead of schedule, proving that many of us who drive will pay extra by the mile and pay every trip to travel a good road.
Many states already have toll roads, and more are now under construction or in the planning stage.
Any roadway must keep pace with the changing character of its community. Dream big and act boldly. Know the best road of yesterday can become the worst road of today just a few miles down the way. Pittsburgh is moving mountains and even relocating a railroad yard to get out of its traffic jam.
County, city, and state tax money is matching federal funds to pave the way.
When this boldly planned parkway is completely open to traffic, the greater Pittsburgh Airport, instead of being an hour away, will be only a 15-minute ride from the center of the city. As has been done in other cities, Pittsburgh is digging a $4 million hole in the heart of the city to provide underground storage for thousands of cars. Above the surface, a beautiful park will camouflage the busy activity below. Or if not underground, then stacked layer upon layer in modern fireproof structures, engineered for easy access and maximum use of downtown space.
In San Francisco, the Bay Shore Freeway is getting in shape for tomorrow's traffic as part of California's new 10-year, $750 million highway program, financed by state tax on gasoline and auto license fees.
Chicago is moving a city to build an 8-mile-long expressway from the city limits to Michigan Avenue, wide as a city block, into the heart of the Loop, an 8-lane miracle which will send traffic through the middle of the main post office building like a special delivery letter.
Chicagoans raised their share of the $92 million cost by a bond issue, interest and retirement to be paid for by future revenue from motor fuel taxes backed up by property taxes.
Borrowing money to finance expansion is traditional with Americans. The time and money saved more than repays your investment. If you wait to pay as you go, you may not go at all.
Detroit is borrowing funds to build more miles of expressway, and build them today instead of years from now.
Limited access highways without stoplights, cross traffic, pedestrians, left turn menace, and dangerous intersections. Spacious roads of divided lanes where free-flowing traffic can save time, tires, gas, as well as lives. But the way of the green light isn't only on an expressway. The green light must shine along improved neighborhood streets, on the Sunday way to church, and the pleasure drive to water's edge and sun. The go-ahead must be fought for on the side streets. We must fight for it at every crossroad, widening out congested intersections, rounding square corners for the wheels of the automotive age. We must boldly attack bottleneck and traffic jam with left turn lanes and modern interchanges, service roads, and better loading facilities. Free ourselves from the ulcer route and from no place to park.
Roads are dying of old age.
And come every spring, the bottoms drop out.
Yep, you have to be careful driving the kids over these roads.
What's a citizen gonna do?
Our American dream of Futurama on wheels can come true. Our highway engineers know the way. It's ours for the asking, if we'll ask and pay our way. Freedom of the road is as old as the first man and as new as this moment. Once we fought for it, through forest and river, wild animals and Indians, across desert and mountain range, and we won our right of way. Now there is another payment to be made on our freedom of movement. It's the price for growing greater than our biggest dream. Today, 2 miles of highway are wearing out for every one being built. And tomorrow, we'll have 1 million more drivers, not counting those in the back seat. The way ahead, is it to be a dead end or the green light?
Don't honk your horn. Raise your voice. Ask for better highways and more parking space. It's your country. To get the green light, write your state capital. Write Washington, D.C. Write your hometown officials. Postcard your newspaper editor. Call your radio and TV commentators. Support your highway officials. And when you vote, vote for your right of way. Don't honk your horn.
Raise your voice. It's your country. Give yourself the green light.
Wow. So it's interesting. I did a screening at NC State's library about the future of cities, and I showed a 1939 GM film called To New Horizons that showed the future, and they talked about Futurama. They introduced that concept, the future of the city and the landscape, and it's all about interstate highways, and it's all about cars interacting, sidewalks that are up high so more cars can go through. And what was missing from that film? Mass transit. There was not a bus, there was not a train, there was not a monorail, there was nothing. It was all about individual vehicles, be them cars, trucks, making their way across the landscape. And so this film reinforces GM's position about your freedom and the convenience of independent driving, and basically selling more cars. And this reminded me of the fact that something that I talked about at the screening was Who Framed Roger Rabbit is all about that. So Robert Moses, who they applaud in this film, basically tore down so many neighborhoods, working class neighborhoods, all throughout New York City to make way for these expressways, and caused this schism as far as how New York City grew up and evolved just by creating, like, well, you can't get through there now. Like, that neighborhood is not connected. And so if you remember in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Toontown is about to be destroyed to make way for interstates. So there you go. Thanks for tuning in today. Very much enjoy your comments. And we'll be back again tomorrow. And maybe I'll give a tour of the scanner tomorrow. I'll have to get a webcam to figure out how to do that. But very much appreciate your eyeballs and your comments. If you like what you saw, hit the thumbs up, hit the like. You can also donate via the Super Thanks button. Go to ko-fi.com/avgeeks or patreon.com/avgeeks. Those are great ways to support us. Otherwise, we will see you tomorrow. Everybody take care.